Imagine a world where people are fed up with corruption and oppression. A world where the youth are demanding change and a better future. Imagine a world where people are willing to risk their lives for a chance at freedom. This is the story of the Arab Spring, a series of protests and uprisings that swept across the Middle East in the early 2010s. It's a story of hope, of resilience, of struggle, and ultimately, of a region forever changed. The Arab Spring began in Tunisia in 2010 after a young fruit vendor named Mohamed Bouazizi set himself on fire in protest of police harassment and corruption. Bouazizi's act of desperation sparked a wave of protests that eventually led to the ouster of Tunisian President Zine El Abidine Ben Ali, a man who had been in power for 23 years. The Tunisian Revolution, as it became known, served as a catalyst for uprisings across the region, inspiring people to take to the streets and demand an end to corruption, poverty, and authoritarian rule. The people of Tunisia were tired of being silenced, tired of being ignored, and tired of living under a repressive regime. The Arab Spring was a time of great hope and change. It seemed like the Middle East was on the cusp of a new era of democracy and freedom. But the Arab Spring was also a time of great violence and upheaval. In countries like Libya and Syria, the protests quickly escalated into civil wars, leaving thousands dead and millions displaced. The Arab Spring was a time of both great promise and great tragedy. So, what were the long-term consequences of the Arab Spring? The answer is complex and multifaceted. In some countries, like Tunisia, the Arab Spring led to democratic reforms and a greater degree of political freedom. But in other countries, like Syria and Yemen, the Arab Spring led to prolonged civil wars and a descent into chaos. The Arab Spring was a complex and messy process, and its consequences are still being felt today. It's important to remember that the Arab Spring was not just about political change. It was also about social and economic change. The Arab Spring was a movement for justice and equality, and it continues to inspire people around the world. The Arab Spring may have ended, but its legacy lives on. It showed the world that even in the most oppressive of regimes, people can rise up and demand change. It showed the world that even in the face of violence and repression, people can still find hope for a better future. The Arab Spring taught us that the Middle East is a region of great complexity and change. It's a region that is constantly evolving, and it's a region that is full of both challenges and opportunities. The Arab Spring was a turning point in the history of the Middle East, and its legacy will continue to be debated for years to come.